Who wants fettuccine alfredo? I do. And a low-calorie version? Count me in. So first thing I do to make my life easier is I soak my pasta before I cook it. I started soaking my noodles about 30 minutes before I wanted to start cooking. And you can see here the difference in the color. This is the pasta before the soak. It's a darker yellow, and this is the pasta after. So now I'm ready to cook the pasta. It's been about 30 minutes now. I use the soaking water from the pasta as part of my boiling water. Now if you do this, you do have to know that the water is very starchy, so it's easy for the water to boil over quickly. Keep an eye on your pot and there won't be a problem. These are the ingredients you'll need to make the Alfredo sauce. I'll link the recipe in the description box below. The secret to making this low-fat Alfredo sauce is a blender. Surprisingly, when you blend up cottage cheese, it takes on a very creamy, thick consistency, similar to heavy cream. And it gives you that same fatty kind of mouthfeel that heavy cream gives you, but with a lot less calories. You'll notice here that I'm using my scale in order to measure out the ingredients. And I do this out of sheer laziness, honestly. It's more accurate and it also generates fewer dishes for me to wash, which is a great bonus. The recipe also calls for cornstarch, which is another ingredient that adds that fatty sort of mouthfeel. It makes the sauce really thick and luscious. And here I'm using my palm to do just rough measurements of the spices. I like to add the minimum at this point and then adjust as it's cooking. I taste it while I'm cooking it, and then if I think it needs a little more of the garlic salt, then I'll add more of that, or if it needs more pepper, then I'll add more of that. And while I was making the sauce, my husband was working on the pasta, and you can see it's a fairly small pot for the amount of pasta that I'm making. This is a pound of pasta here, and you want to keep the pasta uncovered while boiling and on medium heat so that it doesn't overboil. Now, as a nice addition to this dish, I'm using some panko breaded shrimp from Costco. I just stuck this into the toaster oven for about 15 minutes and let it get nice and crispy in there while I finish the rest of the dinner. Now my pasta's been cooking for about 5 minutes and it's perfectly done. The shorter cooking time is a direct result of the soaking process. I highly recommend this trick. So finally, I'm just gonna drain the pasta in the sink and pour a little bit of cold water over it just to loosen up the noodles. Now that my pot is free, I run the mixture of the Alfredo sauce in my blender, maybe for about 2 minutes or so on high, and then I just pour the mixture into my pot and wait for it to simmer. Now while I'm letting this simmer, I'm going around and cleaning my kitchen to make sure that once dinner's done, I don't have as much to clean up. So this initial part, you'll see that I don't touch the stove very much, and that's because it's just really coming up to temperature. So I have a longer time to wash out my blender, to wipe down the counter, and then every now and then I'll come back and give the mixture a nice stir. Just a little side note here. This red spatula I got from the Dollar Tree. It cost $1, and it is literally the best kitchen utensil that I have in my house. It is so flexible and it has so many uses. I can scrape little bits out of jars. I can cook with it. It can withstand temperatures. I highly recommend that you go to the Dollar Tree and pick up one of these. It is life-changing. And now at this point, I start to taste my pasta. It's kind of getting warm. So I give it a little taste, and it needed a lot more garlic salt. So I went ahead and added that. And then I kind of thought about it and thought, well, it does need a little something more. So I added some pepper, and those two small additions made this sauce just perfect. Now it's getting towards the end and the sauce is getting thicker. I can tell when I pick it up and kind of pour it down that it's kind of making a little bit of a ribbon there. And then you can really tell that the sauce is done when you start to see little bubbles towards the sides, like I'm pointing out here. Now this tells you that the sauce is good and thick and it's ready to eat. And everything's done now. This is how we serve it up at my house. Everybody just kind of grabs a bowl and then puts the amount of noodles that they want in their bowl, puts the sauce that they like in. Everybody's just kind of different, so it's just better this way than for me to mix everything in one pot and to have people complain about having too much sauce or too little sauce. And that's it, dinner's ready. This whole thing took me about 30 minutes start to finish, and the dinner was delicious. Now, we did have quite a bit of leftovers. This was a pound of pasta for 3 people, so we'll probably get one more meal out of this. And I am just packaging up the alfredo sauce in one glass jar that I had around and putting the leftover pasta in a bag. This reheats up really great. And I am happy to have a meal ready to go in the fridge for another day, which means I don't have to cook. Yay! Are you seeing how awesome this spatula is? It is the best. I got this spatula after watching Catherine's DoItOnADime Dollar Tree video, and she talked about some of her favorite Dollar Tree finds, and this was one of them. I totally understand what she's talking about. That's it for this Cook With Me. Thanks for watching, and let me know in the comments below if you end up making this dish. I'd love to know what you think. See you next time. Bye.